January 1, Austria legalizes same-sex marriage. Deeming all existing laws discriminatory, the Constitutional Court of Austria legalized marriage between same-sex couples. In doing so, Austria joined several other European nations such as Germany, France, and Spain. Prior to this, same-sex couples in the country were only allowed to enter legal partnerships but not get married. January 1, Qatar withdraws from OPEC. In December 2018, Qatar's Minister of Energy Saad Sharita Al-Kaabi announced that the nation would withdraw from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, claiming that the move represents a technical and strategic change. The country made the decision after analyzing ways to make its international standing better. The withdrawal came into effect on the first day of 2019, bringing an end to over 50 years of membership. January 3, China accomplishes first landing on the far side of Moon. China became the first nation in the world to safely and successfully land a spacecraft on the far side of the Moon. The side of the Moon never faces Earth, so any mission would require a relay satellite. China's Kekao relay satellite helped the Change 4 probe land at the Von Karman crater. The mission aims to study the age and composition of the region and getting more information about the early solar system and Earth. Pictured, the Yuta-2 rover is photographed by Change 4 on the Moon. January 25. Brazil dam disaster kills over 230. A dam at the Corrego do Feijão iron ore mine ruptured near the municipality of Brumadinho, letting loose a massive mudflow which destroyed the mine offices during lunchtime, along with several houses, roads and farms. Around 3 months later, the civil police of Minas Gerais posted a final death tally of 237, with 33 missing. January 28, U.S. charges Huawei with fraud. Adding to the trade tension between the two countries, the U.S. filed 23 charges against Chinese telecom company Huawei and its chief financial officer Meng Wanzhou. The charges included theft of technology, obstruction of justice and bank fraud. U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, pictured, said, "For years, Chinese firms have broken our export laws and undermined sanctions, often using U.S. financial systems to facilitate their illegal activities. This will end." Huawei rejected the charges in a statement, saying it didn't commit any of the asserted violations and that it is not aware of any wrongdoing by Ms. Meng. February 3, first papal visit to Arabian Peninsula. Pope Francis became the first in history to visit the Arabian Peninsula after arriving in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The purpose of the visit was to participate in a conference on Christian-Muslim relations and hold a huge mass at the Abu Dhabi Sports Arena for the Catholic community there. February 12, Macedonia is renamed. Bringing an end to a decades-long dispute with Greece and taking a step forward for integration into NATO and the European Union, the Republic of Macedonia officially changed its name to Republic of North Macedonia. According to state spokesman Milbosh Tchaikovsky, the national language would still be called Macedonian. February 14, suicide attack kills Indian security forces, sparks conflict with Pakistan. 40 Central Reserve Police Force, CRPF, personnel were killed as an explosives-laden vehicle rammed into their bus in the district of Pulwama, India. India blamed Pakistan for the attack, and in the fallout, the Indian Air Force reportedly bombed a terrorist training camp in Pakistan on February 26. The two countries came close to war before tensions de-escalated. February 19, Karl Lagerfeld dies. The iconic fashion designer, who was the creative director for Chanel, died at the age of 85 in Paris, France. Lagerfeld, who is credited for reinventing the Chanel and Fendi brands, had been keeping unwell for several weeks. March 5, stem cell transplant makes patients HIV undetectable. In only the second case of its kind, a stem cell transplant made a London patient's HIV undetectable. Doctors reported that he was in remission for 18 months and had stopped taking HIV drugs. Although experts suggest that it's too early to say that he was completely cured of HIV, but this marks a step closer to finding a cure. March 10, Ethiopian Airlines plane crash kills 157. The Nairobi-bound Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed near the town of Bishoftu, Ethiopia, after taking off from Addis Ababa Bole International Airport. All 157 people on board lost their lives and the crash resembled that of a Lion airplane in October 2018. Both aircraft were Boeing 737 MAX 8 models, sparking a global debate about its safety and resulting in the grounding of the model by carriers and regulators around the globe. March 14, Cyclone Idai makes landfall in Mozambique. Over 1,000 people lost their lives after the Category 3 cyclone made landfall in Mozambique, wreaking havoc in the country along with neighboring Zimbabwe and Malawi. It resulted in heavy rains and flooding of rivers, which inundated entire villages. According to estimates by the World Bank, the affected countries faced financial damages of over $2 billion. March 15. Terror attack kills 50 in New Zealand. At least 50 people were killed and 50 more wounded after a gunman opened fire at the Al Noor Mosque in Linwood Islamic Centre in Christchurch. The assailant, later identified as Australian citizen Brenton Harrison Tarrant, was arrested and charged with murder. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern described the attacks as one of New Zealand's darkest days, and the country passed a sweeping ban on semi-automatics and assault rifles 6 days later. April 10, first ever image of black hole is unveiled. Captured by the Event Horizon Telescope, the first ever image of a black hole was released on this day. Located in the Messier 87 galaxy, the black hole is 500 million trillion km away from Earth and nearly 3 million times the size of our planet. April 11, Julian Assange is arrested. After 7 years of taking refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, England, the WikiLeaks co-founder was arrested after he was found guilty of failing to surrender to the court. He also faces federal conspiracy charges in the U.S. for leaks of government secrets. Presently, extradition hearings are going on against Assange in the British courts. April 15, fire breaks out at Notre Dame Cathedral. A fire broke out at the 850-year-old Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, France, causing heavy damage to the iconic structure. A large part of the roof and its spire was destroyed in the blaze. Officials suggested that the fire may have been ignited by ongoing renovation work at the Gothic landmark. April 21, serial bomb blasts rattle Sri Lankan capital. On Easter Sunday, a series of bomb blasts at churches, hotels and a housing complex in and around Colombo killed more than 250 people and wounded hundreds others. An island-wide curfew was imposed until the next day. On April 23, the Islamic State militant outfit claimed responsibility for the attacks. April 21, comedian Volodymyr Zelensky is elected Ukraine president. In a runoff election, Ukrainian comedian and servant of the People Party's Volodymyr Zelensky scored a landslide victory to become the sixth president of the nation. He defeated incumbent Petro Poroshenko, taking more than 73% of the votes. April 26, Kim Jong-un meets with Vladimir Putin. North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un visited Russia for a summit with President Vladimir Putin and other leaders of the nation. Putin said that Kim talked freely on all issues that were on the agenda, adding that the North Korean leader needs international security guarantees in exchange for ending the country's nuclear program. The meeting came after talks between the U.S. and North Korea broke down in February. April 30, uprising against Venezuela President Nicolás Maduro. Nicolás Maduro's re-election to a second term in May 2018 was met with flack amid claims of vote rigging and opposition boycott. In January 2019, Popular Will Party leader Juan Guaidó, pictured, declared himself interim president, gaining support from the citizens as well as winning recognition from over 50 nations. On April 30, he led an uprising called Operation Freedom to oust Maduro's regime. At least 4 people were reportedly killed in the ensuing clashes. April 30, first abdication by a Japanese monarch in 2 centuries. The first Japanese monarch to abdicate in 200 years, Emperor Akihito stepped down from the chrysanthemum throne, marking the end of the Heisei era. A day later, his son Naruhito ascended the throne, ushering in the Reiwa era. May 1, Thai king marries a commoner. In a surprise ceremony, Thailand King Maha Vajiralongkorn married the deputy head of his personal security unit. A royal statement said, "The king has decided to promote General Suthita Vajiralongkorn Na Ayodhya, his royal consort, to become Queen Suthita and she will hold royal title and status as part of the royal family." May 6, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor is born. 7th in line of succession to the British throne, Archie Mountbatten Windsor was born to Prince Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. May 6, Avengers: Endgame becomes fastest to reach $2 billion mark. Within just the second weekend of its release, Avengers: Endgame became the fastest to cross $2 billion in global collections. It toppled the collection of Titanic, 1997, which stands at $2.18 billion, in 11 days. The collection of Endgame in the last week of June was $2.75 billion and the only film that surpasses it is Avatar, 2009, with a worldwide collection of $2.78 billion. LR, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, actors Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner and Mark Ruffalo at a hand and footprint ceremony at the TCL Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, California, U.S., on April 23. May 17, Taiwan legalizes same-sex marriage. Taiwan became the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. A constitutional court had already ruled the same in 2017 and the parliament was given a 2-year deadline to pass the changes. May 20, Niki Lauda passes away. The 3-time Formula One world champion from Austria died at the age of 70, after undergoing a lung transplant 8 months back. With deep sadness, we announce that our beloved Niki has peacefully passed away with his family on Monday, his family said in a statement released by an Austrian press agency. Lauda won the F1 title in 1975, 1977 and 1984. May 23, Narendra Modi's landslide win in Indian general elections. In an election that saw as many as 900 million citizens casting their votes, incumbent Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, attained a landslide victory, winning 303 out of 543 seats. The substantial win confirmed a second term for Modi as the country's Prime Minister. June 7, Theresa May formally resigns. After nearly 3 years of serving as the UK Prime Minister, May formally quit as the leader of the ruling Conservative Party over failed Brexit negotiations. She remains the Prime Minister until the party elects a new leader in July 2019. June 9, over 1 million protest Hong Kong extradition bill. Nearly 1.03 million people attended a march protesting a proposed legislation that allows extradition of individuals, including foreign nationals, to mainland China to stand trial. After the protests turned violent, Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam announced that the bill would be indefinitely suspended. However, protests have continued so as to ensure the complete withdrawal of the bill. June 18, Marta becomes top goal scorer in Soccer World Cup history. With her goal against Italy during a FIFA Women's World Cup match in Valenciennes, France, Brazilian striker Marta, number 10, overtook German star Miroslav Klose as the leading goal scorer in women's or men's World Cup tournaments. This was her 17th goal at the World Cup. June 19, 4 charged in MH17 crash case. In July 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, MH17, was shot down while flying over Ukraine, killing 283 passengers and 15 crew members. Nearly 5 years later, a Dutch-led joint investigation team, JIT, charged 3 Russians and a Ukrainian with bringing a missile into the area and with murder. Global arrest warrants have been issued for the 4 suspects, and the court hearing will begin in the Netherlands on March 9, 2020.